All right, thank you for staying with us. The conversation right now, let's switch gears and talk about the challenges in Nigeria, how to handle it. Many persons will say, we know what the problem is or what the problems are, and we want to say enough of discussing the problem, although it's quite instructive to say, before you provide a solution, you must identify and acknowledge where you are, where the situation is, so that you can know how you're projecting moving forward from that particular conundrum, and in this case, about Nigeria's conundrum and where we are, the perplexity, the confusion, and it's appearing that the nation is stuck. Like we don't know what to do, but you know what they say about the word of the elders. The word of the elders are the words of wisdom. And so the elders, men and women, came together and formed an association, an organization rather, they called it the Patriots, and they are led by former United Nations Secretary General, of the Commonwealth rather, Sir Emeka Anyoko. He led them to the villa and then he spoke on a range of issues. We have this video and we'd like you to see what he spoke about, and then we get talking from that. The Patriot visit to the villa.
Was that Nigeria needs a new legitimate Nigeria People's Democratic Constitution. That the present constitution is illegitimate and cannot deal effectively with the myriad challenges facing this country. In other words, that our present governance system needs to be restructured. The Patriots believe that your personal record as one of the great champions of Nigeria's democracy, Nigeria struggled to restore democracy during the Nadeko days, provides our country with its best opportunity for achieving Nigeria's people's democratic constitution. To this end, we have come to appeal to you to send to the National Assembly the President's executive bill, which would call for two important measures. First, the convening of a National Constituent Assembly with the mandate to produce a draft People's Democratic Constitution. The second measure that we propose for your President's executive bill is for the establishment of a national referendum to which the draft constitution emerging from the Constituent Assembly would be subjected.
All right, that was the eminent Emeka Anyoko at the villa making proposal on behalf of the Patriots. Jacob, are you still with me?
Yes, Femi.
Very well. You just had him speak on behalf of the Patriots, making suggestions about how to go about these issues. And by the way, thank God, you are a lawyer. What's your opinion about the suggestions and recommendations, the proposal of the Patriots about addressing the big elephant?
Thank you so much once again. Before I respond to your question directly about my opinion, I want to lay down a foundation so people can actually understand what we're talking about here.
Please.
Interestingly, about 10 years ago, exactly in August, there was a 2014 national confab that was hosted in Abuja. During that confab, there were several issues that were discussed during this confab. There were many fears and agitations that that confab would lead to further disintegrate Nigeria. And I'm glad to say that hasn't happened in reality. But in context, Nigerians are far more divided across religious, ethnic, and societal grounds ever since then. This is 10 years after that conversation was had in the capital city of Abuja. Respectfully to Sir Emeka Anyoko, very cerebral national leader who has served this country and beyond in very great stead. Do we need a new constitution right now? I hold my reservation on that. There are critical issues facing Nigeria right now. These issues have been with us for decades. What were the issues that this confab addressed 10 years ago? There were positions that they should scrap the current 774 local authorities, which are called the local governments in Nigeria, with the belief that that scrapping would help to reduce corruption, and now monies are being spent, and states should set up those local governments. I mean, this is 10 years after that confab. It was just until a few months ago that the Supreme Court eventually made a pronouncement saying that local government should be financially autonomous and funds should be paid directly into their account. Every year in, year out, every successful government, when a new party comes and all that, we see this, our supposed political elites, national leaders, come with several proposals saying Nigeria needs a new constitution. The question we should be asking is, the current constitution we have, how well have our leaders implemented the content and the provisions of the existing constitution? It is not changing the constitution that will make Nigeria thrive or prosperous. We need our leaders to be responsible in conduct, in action, and to be respectful of the existing systems that we have. So for me, I strongly disagree that there's a need for us at this time to be discussing a change of a constitution. The Patriots, I totally agree on how well they have engaged government, high-level delegation, but people are hungry. You're talking of changing a constitution. People can't put food on the table. People are being kidnapped. We're talking of changing a constitution. I think we are a country of misplaced priorities, and we do this often.
Sorry if I'm aborting. One might want to say that two truths can coexist. The issue of the economy and addressing the hunger in the nation can be worked on, while a new draft bill is being put in place. In fact, let me put in the proper perspective about what he said. The Patriots, a respected group of Nigerian statesmen led by former Commonwealth Secretary General Emeka Anyoko, they said, and the proposal is about convening, they told the president to convene a constituent assembly aimed at drafting a new democratic and pluralistic constitution for the nation, because they said the current one that we are having, the 1999 constitution, was put together hurriedly, still by few Nigerian people under the military, but it doesn't, according to them, it doesn't, resonate with the yearnings, with the reality of our pluralistic nature of country, to reflect the yearnings, the integrity, the culture, the tradition, and workings of everybody, every tribe, every tongue, because they say this shall be a nation of everyone. So the few ones that we have, the lacuna there is quite much. Of course, you're a lawyer, you understand these things more than I do. And among the Patriots, there are legal luminaries as well. Professor Michael Zekome is part of that team as well. And, they said, maybe there's a need to do this. But you are saying, maybe the Constitution is not the problem. So where is exactly the problem? Because they are saying, with what we have, the 1999 Constitution, it doesn't resonate with everybody. We should have the one that everybody will feel they are part of it, and they were consulted when these things are being done. Maybe in the general picture, in the broader perspective, it will address the issue of leadership the issue of governance, the issue of hunger, the issue of security, when everybody sees themselves as being part of the nation through the constitution. And you are saying no.
Femi, we do a lot of jamboree in Nigeria. And these are the issues in which we need to address critically. I have not been privileged to read the proposal submitted by the Patriots, but to the best of my knowledge, you want to call for an elaborate and all-inclusive constituent.
Yeah.
The implication of a referendum is you're asking every Tom, Dick, and Harry to be involved in making a position on a national issue. I have not seen the terms of reference in which the Patriots have aligned or assigned to say this is how this thing should be done. And I would repeat here, we do not need a new constitution at this time. Just like the government in its wisdom thinks or thought that a new national anthem would change and make Nigeria more prosperous. We are a country that is run by emotional leaders who do not carefully think out policies before coming on national TV or going to the press to make a statement. Femi, what you and I need now in Nigeria is a government and a constitution. The one that we have now, how well has it been implemented? It's not about, see, we can't just wake up one morning and say, oh, we're having a new constitution that gives room to the Igbos, to the Hausa, to the Efik, to the Ijaws, like, or to the Fulanis. No, we need to look at these things holistically. This is going to be another show of where some persons are sitting down in a town hall across the 36 states, and monies are just being paid for people to just talk. There are reports that have been heard in this country that have not been implemented. I think the issues that we should be looking at now is how revenues allocation are being spent in Nigeria. The federal government is too congested, and we don't need a constitution to be able to tell the federal government this is what to be done. We don't need to throw away the current new constitution in which we have. I agree there are shortcomings and some lacunas in that constitution. But right now, we need a stopgap. And in having the stopgap is to address the style of governance in the country. Not saying we want to engage on a new charade of trying to have a new constitution.
All right. Interesting. You call it a charade. But by the way, apart from the previous call, there is this Constitutional Review Committee by the National Assembly, I think led by the Deputy Senate President Jibrin Barrow and the Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu to see to the nitty-gritty, and they have been calling, I think they have been sitting or they are about to sit, and they're calling for papers review about you having an holistic approach about this 1999 Constitution. Because for me as a layman, I can point one to you, and there is this provision of the law that talked about that all the lands in the nation belong to the state, but the minerals therein belong to the federal government. And it always sounds like an anomaly. How can the land belong to me and my neighbor is the one having the mineral? Meaning, how do I benefit from what is on my land? And you know what is happening in the gold mine sector, the mining sector. So this is one of many. Now, the Constitutional Review Committee that has been put together to have a holistic approach, calling for papers, calling for contributions from the people, from the National Assembly. Are you hopeful about that?
To be very honest with you, I am not hopeful of that, and this is my personal opinion. And I'll give you a quick reason why I say that. Yes, like I alluded to the fact, the current constitution is not perfect, but at this time in a nation where we're facing economic challenges, these governments should not be focusing on changing a constitution. That's not the issue right now. Yes, you have made mention of the issue of lands and all that. Yes, if you refer also to the provisions of the Land Use Act, there are certain things that needs to be addressed. I agree with you when you like the issue of resource control and all that, who has access to all of these mineral resources and all that. That's why I said, if you like in my initial comment, the federal government should be decongested. We only need a constitutional amendment to the current provisions and not entirely throw away what we have. And like I said, until we continue to look at these things holistically, we will spend the next 2-3 years having this supposed change of constitution. This administration finishes its tenure, peradventure it gets a time to do a second time, and the government will tell you, oh, we are reviewing the report of this constitution, and after the end of 8 years, the report of that constitution is swept or spiral binded and it's covered with dust.
Yeah, sorry, because we are short of time now, less than 4 or 5 minutes to go. Before my colleague will come in, just to be clear, you have made mention that 10 years ago, the confab happened, the conversation in Abuja, in which representations were done, to take care of almost every sector of the society of the nation then, and recommendations were made. Now, let me ask you, as a lawyer, because some persons are saying we have been hearing conversations about adoption of that particular report, even under this administration, but some are saying maybe some of those recommendations might not be consistent with our reality 10 years down the line right now, and there is a committee put together to look into that. The Orosoye report is another one, a lot of reports and recommendations. So where exactly do we go from here? If you can do that in 30 seconds.
Femi, where we go from here is very simple. The current constitution, the Nigerian government should respect the constitution. 1, rights of citizens should be respected. Lives and property of citizens should be the top priority of government. And then policies that will directly support and alleviate the poverty of Nigerians should be the focus right now. If we decide to embark on this so-called gigantic change of constitution, we're not going to end anywhere. Right. Nigerians do not want to hear constitution. What they want is how to put food on their table and how to secure the next meal. The government should put its priority on addressing these issues and not trying to waste the scarce resources that we have to go on a frolic of its own, trying to make amendment to the current constitution that we have. Until government changes its actions and look inwards and become more responsible and more empathetic, we will continue to roll in a circle without having the gains of democracy that we both desire in the country.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jacob Sule, for those brilliant comments. So I would like to ask you, what are the potential risks and consequences of abandoning the current constitution for a new one?
That's a great question. The risks are there. One is we don't leave certainty for uncertainty. The issues in which we're facing right now is much more of ethnic diversion. The North is crying about this, the East is doing its own, and the West is doing its own. All that we need is to have a true reflection of these issues. And the risk is, if we decide to jettison the constitution we have right now, what is the assurance that the new constitution, a set of people again, will not wake up in the next few years and say, oh, you did not represent my interest in what we have? So the risks are immense. The needs of humans are insatiable. And until we look inwards and tell ourselves the bitter truth as brothers and sisters, we cannot grow as a nation. So one, leaving certainty for uncertainty in disguise of saying there are ethnic, like some persons are marginalized, and based on that, there are no religious tolerance. So because of that, we want to change a constitution because some section of the country feels they are being marginalized. No, the current constitutions might have its own shortcomings, but I do not see the need for us to be discussing the need to change a constitution right now. And to say, and to wrap up on these, we as Nigerians ourselves need to ensure that we even go and pick up a copy of that constitution and see how things are done. And to close you out on this, when powers are shared and rotated at all levels, where the federal, the state, and local government are functional, there will be no need for people to start yearning for the change of a constitution.
Very well.
And until those things are done,
Yeah.
we will continue to struggle with our nascent democracy in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Jacob Sule, a lawyer, public affairs analyst, of course, a doctoral student at the George Washington University in Washington, D.C., the U.S., and the executive director of I Read to Live initiative. Thank you very much for joining us and sharing your thoughts with us about your nation, my nation, Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Femi.
All right, you're welcome, and that would be it today on the program, talking about the Patriot Suggestions at addressing the nation's challenges, and of course, the perceived disconnect between the lifestyle of those in power and the economic reality of the people. Promises upon promises, and then it doesn't look like those things, telling the people to make sacrifices. But the thing is there anything sacrificial in the lifestyle, in the running of office, of those in power at the national level, even at the subnational level? That is the thought this morning. And of course, on this program, is ours to ask the questions, is yours to make do of the conversations that we have here. But trust us to stay on the matter and ask the right questions, as we are the mirror of the society. Femi Ojo is my name. Join us tomorrow, for another edition of this program, Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Let's inform you that you could have a recap of this program on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Be good and stay alive. Tomi.
And thank you for being a part of our edition this morning. Do want to join us again tomorrow. You know the time already. It's at 7 a.m. I guess make it a day to Westwood House tomorrow. My name is Tomilola Daniel. Bye for now.